everybody, welcome. This is the Commotion. I'm Roshan Joshi here with Dan Smith, and we're on the Sports Den. Today we're going over the top 5 2020 targets for this fantasy season this year. What's up, Dan? How you doing, bud?
I'm doing good, man. Excited still. God, I cannot wait for football season to start.
Same here, buddy. Hey, did you happen to hear about our signed Mike Tyson trunks giveaway? Because
Could you tell me about it, please?
Yeah, man, absolutely. So we are doing a signed Mike Tyson's trunk giveaway. If you subscribe, you are automatically entered. And then anytime you comment on any of our YouTube videos, extra entries. We're giving you more than one chance to win, man.
So you're telling me that if I subscribe, I get entered?
When you subscribe, you're automatically entered. You don't even have to do anything. You hit a button.
And then if I comment, I also get entered again?
Yeah, man. And then we put out 3 videos a week minimum. So if you comment on each video, every time we drop one, it's at least 3 entries a week, 4 entries a week. So make sure to join our LSN gang. Hit that like button, subscribe for more content, and if you want to follow our content, hit that notification bell. Let's get right into our top 5 wide receivers for 2020. So we're going to go 5 to 1. Yes. So I'm going to actually start it off, man. So my number 5 pick, as a lot of you guys might get a little thrown off for, is Carolina Panthers, DJ Moore. I always have an eye on DJ Moore, man, not because of anything other than his yak. I'm not talking about him barfing. I'm talking about the yards after catch, man. He's one of those guys that he gets his hands on the ball. He's out. He's out. He's making them cuts. He's getting extra 10, extra 20 yards on top of it. Now the Carolina Panthers have Teddy Bridgewater, so I expect a lot out of this dude.
I had DJ Moore on my squad last year. And I got to be honest with you, I expect a little more out of him. No pun intended. But he's a great wide receiver. He's the clear number 1 wide receiver in that offense. I think he's going to do really, really well in that offense. You also bring in Teddy Bridgewater, who is a guy that excels at those intermediate passes, a lot like Kirk Cousins does, a lot like Dak Prescott does. That 5 to 12 yard range downfield. Teddy Bridgewater has really good accuracy in that aspect of things. And like you said, that kind of feeds into DJ Moore's ability of what he does, of kind of a catch and run type of guy, grab that slant and go. So I think that's a great choice at number 5. I do not share it, but I do think it's a good one. For me, my list is kind of generic. And I just really think that these guys are going to be at the top until they're not. So I think that they've earned kind of a little bit of benefit of the doubt. And my number 5 guy is Tyreek Hill. And the reason being is I don't think you can compete with that speed. He's still the fastest guy in the field almost every time. Maybe Henry Ruggs can give him a run for his money at this point, but Tyreek Hill, listen.
And it's football speed, too. It's not just 40 speed. That's football speed, baby.
Right. And this is my thing. It's not a surprise anymore. Everybody knows what he's going to do. He's going to streak down the field as fast as he can. Patrick Mahomes is going to throw a bomb to him, and all you have to do is not let him get behind you. But nobody's able to stop it. So until it can be stopped, he's in my top 5.
I love it. Trust me. He got a seat somewhere in my list too, so he's a little higher. Love that. No, Tyreek Hill is a burner, and you will be very lucky if you can grab him on your list. For my number 4, and I know that a lot of people have this guy put up a little bit higher. I have Michael Thomas from the New Orleans Saints. So a little bit lower on the list than number 4.
Wow.
Number 4, man. Might be a bit of a low reach. I don't know, man. He's got that he sneakily catches all those balls. Like, I always watch games, and I never understand how Michael Thomas gets all the yards he does, but he does, and he's very proficient at it. That I agree and believe, but I just think that a couple of these guys have that X factor that is going to, put them in a little bit of a better situation or a little bit of a better fit. So if you have the opportunity to draft Michael Thomas, definitely do it. I'm not saying don't. I'm just saying that I got a couple of guys that think it's going to do a little better,
For me, man, I Michael Thomas is in the conversation for me as the best wide receiver in the league. So for me, 4 is way too low. Obviously, he's on my list, but not at 4. Number 4 for me is Julio Jones. I know that, he has 2 years ago, he had a little bit of a slump year. Last year, he was okay, not great, but he's still Julio Jones. It's Matt Ryan throwing him the ball, who is a consistent guy. You know what he's going to be. He's not, going to put the team on his back anymore, but he can still get the job done. I like Dirk Cutter as the offensive coordinator now. And, we were having this conversation before. You got to double team Julio Jones.
Every time.
You know that you have to know where he is on the field. That doesn't mean you can stop him. You had to know that you had to double team Megatron. You had to know that you had to double team Chad Ochocinco. You had to know that you had to double team Jerry Rice, Terrell Owens,
Antonio Brown.
You had to OBJ when he was on the Giants. You had to know that you had to double team these guys, yet they still couldn't be stopped. Julio Jones is one of these guys as well. So like I said, until he's not, he is for me.
I'm with it. The only reason I don't have Julio Jones, the athletic freak of a man, on my my list is you said it, like Matt Ryan. You know what you're getting. He's secure. And the fact that they don't have a real number 2 receiver. That's the reason I didn't put Julio Jones on my list, just because I feel like everybody's going to try to keep up with him. But as you said, you put 2 people on Megatron didn't mean diddly.
I think Calvin Ridley is going to surprise some people this year too.
I hope so, and I hope so that he doesn't get hurt. I hope he stays healthy. That's the big thing. All right, cool.
Number 3, who you got?
Oh, all right. So as you spoke of earlier, I actually put Tyreek Hill on number 3, and that was with a little bit of contemplation. I wasn't even sure, but really sitting there thinking about it. You can't teach speed. You can't do it. You just can't teach straight line speed, man. And if Henry Ruggs had a year under his belt, he might have been on the list. But you can't teach speed like Tyreek Hill. He will burn you down that field. He'll catch up to his running backs and pat him on the back while they're both running into
It's not just speed. It's also the ability to catch the ball.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know if you remember a couple of years ago, Darius Hayward-Bay came into the league, and he got drafted very, very high by the Raiders because he was a burner. He was an absolute burner, but he had cement blocks for hands. He couldn't catch. So Tyreek Hill, like I was saying before, has that speed, has that ability. He's going to streak down the field. Stop it. You can't. And he can catch the ball. So to me, he's my number 5. The reason why he's my number 5 is because I don't think he has a great route tree. So I love him at number 3.
Okay. And speaking of number 3s, who you got for me, man? I got like a reach for my next one, so I'm like holding off on it.
So my number 3 is DeAndre Hopkins.
Okay.
I love D-Hop. D-Hop is – so for me, D-Hop and Michael Thomas are in a 3-way conversation as the top receiver in the league. The only reason why D-Hop is not number 1 or number 2 for me is because he changed teams. So I want to see him in the Arizona
uniform. Yeah.
I want to see him in the offense. I want to see him with Kyler Murray. I want to see him in this Cliff Kingsbury offense. I want to see how he works and fits in. I think he's going to be an absolute stud in there. But I'm sliding him in at my number 3 spot because at the end of the day, it's DeAndre Hopkins, and Nuke catches everything.
No, I'm with it. My number 2. And here is a bit of a reach because we haven't seen the pairing yet. But I think once you put Tom Brady in Tampa Bay and you have Mike Evans staring at him downfield, that is going to be some Julio Jones stuff right there. Mike Evans already a beast. Now you have consistency coming towards him.
Yeah.
Not to mention, I don't want to take anything away from Jameis Winston because good quarterback, tough offense. Risk it for the biscuit offense, high flying, you're going to throw ints. It's going to happen. You're going to throw interceptions when you're throwing 5,000 yards or 4,000. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But
also the fact that Jameis Winston couldn't see.
Oh, yeah. He was also blind, had to get an eye surgery so that he could see.
Couldn't read a stop sign.
Wild. But I think once you have that pairing of Mike Evans and Tom Brady likes those bigger guys. He likes those guys like Gronk. you essentially have a 2 tight end set right there. So I'm going Mike Evans at number 2. I know it's a bit of a reach, but that is my guy. That's what I would target if I had that spot.
So I love Mike Evans. Mike Evans would probably be my number 6. I think he's a great wide receiver. He's a high point guy, catches a lot of contested balls. He's a great receiver. I'm also looking at the fact that you have Gronk in that offense. You have O.J. Howard in that offense. You have Ronald Jones out of the backfield. We'll see what he can do this year.
Good win.
You also have Chris Godwin in that offense. They drafted another wide receiver, Tyler Johnson. I think they drafted in the 5th round, who's supposed to be very, very good. There's a lot of mouths to feed on that offense.
I get that. No, I 100% get that.
That's my only concern. So again, it's not a talent thing. It's a passing that ball around thing of everybody's got to eat on that offense. So for me, my number 2 is kind of the antithesis of this, and it's Davante Adams. Because at the end of the day, you're giving me one of the best wide receivers in the league with really no other mouths to feed, and Aaron Rodgers feeding him the ball. I'll take that every day of the week and twice on Sunday. Because, again, we go back to Megatron. We go back to Andre Johnson. We go back to Chad Ochocinco. You need to worry about Davante Adams, and you still can't stop him.
Yeah, no, I'm with that. And once again, not enough mouths to feed. That's kind of why I'm nervous about backing the Packers for the most part, because they don't really have weapons, man. So,
but they have Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
And, it's kind of the same thing of what you just said about Tampa Bay. Having that quarterback matters. You could be the greatest wide receiver that the world has ever seen. And if you don't have a quarterback to throw you the ball, it's going to be tough for you. I mean, how many games did the Detroit Lions win with Megatron?
No,
be the greatest of all time.
I was literally just about to say Megatron as a prime example of that.
So, to me, Davante Adams, number 2, I think he's going to ball out this year.
Love it. All right. So that is bringing us right into our number 1s. All right. So my number 1 may be a little generic. I do not care. All right. D-Hops is king. I know he's on a new team, but now you got a quarterback in Kyler Murray that is going to be scrambling to his number 1 option, and that is you, D-Hops, catching everything out there, scaring the hell out of them. I know Kenyon Drake is actually going to be a bit of an insurgent this year in the Cardinals because they're doing well. So I see D-Hops holding that number 1 spot this year. But like you said, we kind of have to see it happen. Little bit of a reach potentially, but at the very least, we do know that he does have a solid track record even before Watson.
I don't think you can ever call DeAndre Hopkins a reach. Ever. I don't think Mike Evans at 2. Little bit of a reach.
I knew that was a reach. I prefaced it.
DeAndre Hopkins is not a reach in any capacity at all. My only thing about D-Hop, and like I say, he's number 3, so it's not like he's much farther away from me.
Yeah.
My only concern about D-Hop is he's in a new offense. Kyler Murray can scramble. You have a decent running back over there. You have Larry Fitzgerald. You have legend Larry, who's still going to get his looks. You know what I mean?
Of course, but obviously not as a number 1, or maybe.
No, not as a number 1. I'm just saying is that, to me, there's a lot of question marks about how you fit into that offense. And I just want to see it.
I feel that. I feel like because of his catching, he's going to be that security blank.
100%, but he's still number 3. So it's not like, I'm not, because he's not off my board altogether.
Yeah.
So being said, my number 1 is Michael Thomas because he is the best wide receiver in the league. He does nothing but catch every ball that's thrown at him. He does nothing but get the yak that you talked about before. It's yards after catch. I think, he had 94 more fantasy points than the next closest receiver to him last year.
Christ.
94 more. The guy is an absolute beast, a monster. And you have Drew Brees throwing him the ball. You have Sean Payton coming back, calling the plays. And the consistency is there. Everything is the same for you to be like, you can't say, it was a flashlight. He does this year in, year out. He's the best receiver. Talking fantasy, hands down the best receiver.
Talking Mike.
Talent, talent in the NFL, he's arguably the best receiver. So for me, Can't guard Mike is absolutely the number one, hands down choice for fantasy wide receiver options.
I love it. No, and value. That's what we always look for.
Yep.
And when you pick up a guy like Michael Thomas, you are getting value. So awesome, man. Glad we got to do this. And that wraps up our top 5 wide receiver lists. Once again, this is The Sports Den with Dan Smith, and I'm Roshan Joshi on the Commotion. Don't forget to join our LSN gang. Hit that like button, the subscribe button, the notification bell to keep up with anything that we are throwing out there. Every like helps, guys, so make sure to smash that like button and stay tuned because we are going to be helping you throughout your whole entire fantasy season to make those right picks. So let's get it. And once again, guys, remember, stay blessed.